Hi everyone. So as you saw, I'm going to be talking about my concept for an underwater world for Plants vs Zombies 2. To stay on theme, I thought it'd be fun to go ahead and film this entire video underwater. So while the room is filling up, let's go ahead and talk. This isn't an original idea by any means. Tons of people have made ideas for some kind of aquatic world. There's even a few official renditions of an underwater world in the more obscure PvZ games, such as underwater world. So my plan was to conceptualize this as an epic realm for Reflourished because that seems like a good base. But as I was working on this, they went ahead and teased that some kind of underwater world content is coming soon. So just so we're all on the same page, I've been working on this for weeks. Any similarities are coincidence. I have no idea how well known the Chinese version of PvZ2 is to Western fans. I thought it was widespread, but when looking up certain stuff for this video, all I got was a big fat nothing burger. So I'm going to give a quick summary of how the world works. If you want a more detailed look at it, I'll have 2 videos from Flag Zombie link below. They go very in depth and have gameplay on the entire world. They're also just a very good PvZ channel in general. Also, instead of calling it Plants vs Zombies 2 Chinese version, I'm just going to stick to 2C. That'll save us like 40 minutes. So in this world, there's no house for the zombies to get to. You're instead protecting Penny, who is in submarine form, and the zombies attack from both sides on a 6x10 lawn, trying to destroy her. You're also, of course, underwater, so plants cannot breathe, meaning you need to plant oxygen algae everywhere to keep your non-aquatic plants living. The last big thing is the sea creatures. There's a huge variety of sea life to encounter that supports the zombies, sort of in the same vein as the dinosaurs. The 2 big things I'm bringing over include the water and the sea creatures. So here's the lawn. I thought it would be cool if this world takes place just beyond the shore of Big Wave Beach. I've decided to call it the Grave Barrier Reef. On the left of the lawn, there would be 2 columns of seagrass, allowing any plant to be placed there without needing to give it oxygen. For the rest of the lawn, you'll need to use aquatic plants or provide oxygen for the plants that need it. I'm not sure how long they can live without air originally. I believe it's about 5 seconds. Here, I decided they can last about 7 seconds. I didn't really want to add oxygen algae to this since she would just be used in this world and nowhere else, and I didn't want to waste a plant slot on that. So instead, I decided to repurpose another one. When playing at Grave Barrier Reef level, the lily pad would transform into a lily pod, just being the reverse of a lily pad, providing an air bubble on one tile so you can plant anything there. With the removal of the giant lawn and double-sided defense, I decided to add my own new gimmick, that being coral tiles. While the sea critters help out the zombies, the coral tiles will actively hinder them in various ways, which I'll go over now. The first type you'll encounter is fire coral. It would start burning everything on its tile when a zombie steps on it. While not intentionally harmful to plants, I figured some cool puzzle levels could be made around the fact that it'll burn plants when triggered. Talk about friendly fire, am I right? Up next is bubble coral. Whenever a zombie walks across it, it'll inflate and bounce it back a couple of tiles. It's also capable of bouncing back multiple zombies at a time if they're close enough. It will need to take some time to re-inflate afterwards. Moving on, we have vase coral. This one's pretty simple, acting like a vase from the Vase Breaker minigames, most likely giving you a random seed packet, but also having a small chance to contain a zombie. The vase coral acts as a grid item instead of a special tile, so you can't plan on this one. Next is pipe coral. It would swallow up weak zombies to walk over it. Weak zombies being anything below 175 HP. It doesn't need any rest time after swallowing zombies. It also can't swallow any larger zombies like mechs or gargs, even if they're in the HP threshold. Up next is sun coral. This would steal small suns from zombies that step on it, stealing 5 from each zombie. It would only steal from a zombie once unless it has left this tile and returned to it. Our last coral isn't actually a type of coral. It's a sea anemone. These would emit little bursts of electricity that stun and lightly damage zombies. And that's not the coral allies. They keep traditional tile rules remaining there for the entire level, unable to be altered or removed. They can also show up in the middle of the level just like the other tiles and grid items. You can plan on all of them except for the vase coral. Our next big thing to talk about is the sea critters. Like I said earlier, they function kind of similar to dinosaurs in Jurassic Marsh, swimming onto the lawn to a certain tile, then interacting with the zombies for a bit. The biggest difference is their abilities. Even in the original underwater world, they all had very unique abilities that wasn't just push zombie to left. That being said, I did tweak most of their abilities, because while they are different, they're also very unfair and stupid. I'll be going over the changes I made as I go. Our first creature is our hermit crab, the only one that I didn't really change at all. When a zombie approaches it, it would leap onto its head to provide extra protection. They didn't have much health in 2C. Here I would increase their health to match that of a bucket. They can hop onto any zombie that isn't wearing a helmet of higher health. Up next is the clam, referred to as the seashell in 2C. It would spawn as a grid item in random spots on the lawn, then launch zombies forward directly to the submarine, then spawn an imp, seed packet, or cuttlefish. After enough zombies step on it, it would lock one of your seed packets, making it to where you have to plant 3 of them to get access to that plant again. Pretty overwhelming. I went to double check what this guy did and completely forgot about half of it, because why is a clam doing this much? Here's my tweak for the clam. It would swim onto the lawn, yes, clams can swim, and sit in a closed state. When a zombie comes in contact with it, it would swim to lock one of your seed packets. I kept these stats the same, costing 150 to plant with a sluggish recharge. You would only need to plant it once to get your seed packet back, where it will be placed in its open stage. This is where it would activate its ability of flanking zombies forward a few tiles, then swim off the lawn after 2 tosses. Next we have the pufferfish. Originally this would absorb projectiles for a bit, then deflate and fly all over the lawn, damaging most of your plants. I took away the second ability and tweaked the first one a bit, making it to where he would inflate to reflect straightforward projectiles back at plants. He would only activate if there's at least one zombie behind him. Next is the swordfish. I just learned while writing this that this is actually a sailfish in 2C, and there's a separate zombie called swordfish cavalry. The sailfish swims onto the lawn and when disturbed, swims up and destroys a random plant inside of the submarine, remaining on that tile for a few seconds afterwards. I decided to make him a swordfish, mostly because I didn't know he was a sailfish, and he now charges straight onto the lawn to destroy the first plant it touches, then swims away. Moving on to the squid, the only fully original creature here. I will mention that there are cuttlefish in 2C that would stun plants inside the submarine when disturbed. The squid would get scared when the zombie approaches it, spraying out ink that obscures all tiles in a 3x3 area. The ink clouds could be blown away by Blover or Hurtkill. Finally, we have the whale. The most cruel thing about this world, in my opinion, as a spectator. Once 3 krill appear on the lawn, it would summon the whale, which sucks up every krill, then every plant on the lawn. It has a single counter, being Puffy Darris's gas, which will make it leave after inhaling it twice. I think you can see why this thing is horrible. So after some heavy reworks, this is what I came up with. A krill would swim onto a random tile and begin nibbling at a plant if there's one planted there. Every 5 seconds, a new krill would swim onto the same tile, until there are 5. Then the whale would appear at the end of the lawn and begin to inhale the krill. It targets the krill first, then if for whatever reason it doesn't inhale 5 of them, it would begin to target your plants, starting with the ones closest to it. The krill are easily startled. If they are caught in the blast of any instant plant or plant food effect, they would get scared and swim away, leaving your plants susceptible to the whale. The timer for the whale activates after the first krill, so it will still show up 30 seconds after the first krill appears, even if it got scared off the lawn. And there's all the sea critters. I mentioned earlier that they work functionally similar to the dinosaurs, and because of this, I thought it'd be fun to give them all charmed abilities. Charming a sea creature works the same as a dinosaur. It turns around with hearts in its eyes and begins working against the zombies instead of with them. The hermit crab would latch onto the first zombie it encounters, then begin snipping at it until it's defeated, swimming away afterwards. The clam would also latch onto the first zombie it sees, clamping onto its entire head so they can no longer eat plants. This would have no effect on zombies that use objects to attack instead of eating, and it would ignore large zombies. The pufferfish would inflate when a zombie approaches it, then explode, launching sharp needles in various directions. This is based on the real life behavior of pufferfish, as they will actually explode when under enough stress. The swordfish would instantly turn around when charmed and ram into the first zombie it touches, doing very high damage, and even damaging multiple zombies if they are close enough together. The squid would keep its ability of shooting out gas in a 3x3 area, but instead of obscuring the tiles, it would temporarily poison all zombies in the area. Krill will be frightened by perfume shrooms since it is an instant plant, making them leave the lawn. The whale also doesn't really have a charmed effect. Instead, it would inhale all the gas in the lane, leaving the other critters uncharmed and swim off the lawn early. I think that's everything I have to say about the ocean life here. Now we can dive into the plants and zombies.
Brains.
So in most underwater world concepts, a lot of aquatic plants are introduced, and mine is no different, but it can get kind of tricky to figure out how they function on land. Should you banish them from being planted in anything but water to keep the realism? Yeah, let's lock them all to 2 worlds with water in it. No, that's lame. While I did have the thought of introducing a plant that could create water tiles like Sea Shooter, I ultimately decided they could just exist above water. I don't think it'd be too weird to see them floating around. I thought it'd be cool to give them a buffed ability when in the water, so that you have incentive to place them in there when it's available. Like I said earlier, the lily pad would transform into the lily pod for this world, so you would technically already have it unlocked by the time you got to this one. The only thing I want to add is that using plant food on a plant currently in a lily pod would cause its plant food to activate as well, creating clones of itself in the 4 tiles adjacent to it. The first actual plant of this world is the Puffy Darris. She comes from 2C, where her ability is basically unchanged. She's an instant plant that sprays gas in a 3x3 area, which makes zombies walk backwards as long as they're inside the gas. She will also scare away sea creatures inside her radius. This plant is pretty busted in 2C because it was given a recharge of only 10 seconds, while the gas lasts for 20, meaning you can basically stun a giant group of zombies forever. I would just change this to a 10-second duration and 25-second recharge to make her more balanced. Her aquatic boost would cause her to create the gas for an extra 5 seconds. During this time, she would exist on the lawn for a bit, allowing you to feed her plant food, which would cause her to spray gas in a 5x5 area, lingering for 15 seconds. Our second plant is Coral Shroom. I designed her as a close relative to Spore Shroom and based her ability off of him. She lobs coral at zombies that will transform them into coral tiles upon defeat. She will randomly fire different types of coral based on the types I discussed earlier, and whichever lands that final blow is the type that the zombie turns into. If you want her to fire a specific type of coral, simply plant her on an existing coral tile, and she will only fire coral of that type. Since the vase coral is a grid item, I decided in order to make her only shoot those, you would need to plant her on the remains of a vase. After smashing a coral vase, shards of the vase would be left on the lawn for you to plant the coral shrimp in. This would lock her to only shooting vase coral bits. Her aquatic boost causes her to deal double damage every other shot. Feeding her plant food will make her shoot a giant piece of multicolored coral that does damage in a 3x3 area, which spawns random coral tiles under any zombie it defeats, unless it's planted on a coral tile where it will follow its rule of only shooting coral of that type. Up next is Angelonia fish. They fire 3 petal clumps in 3 directions, very similar to Sea Shooter. The main ability comes from their ring. They would launch it down the lane and pacify the closest zombie in front of it. While pacified, it will heal plants it's currently eating instead of damaging them. Plants will still attack and damage this zombie. They can only fire 1 ring at a time, and it will return to them once the zombie is defeated. Their aquatic boost would cause pacified zombies to drop 15 sun on defeat. When given plant food, they will launch 3 pink rings down the lane to the zombies closest to your house, hypnotizing them. These rings are special and don't count towards our 1 ring at a time limit. The 4th plant for this world is the kelp guards. This is another plant originating from 2C, but I completely reworked it. In 2C, they would stretch upon planting and defend an entire column against zombies by stunning the ones in between them. Here, they would create walls that connect with other kelp guards, basically acting like electric current, but with walls instead of electric fields. They have 4,000 health alone, and will share health once connected. It would be extremely broken to link like 10 of these guys up though, so the shared health would have a cap of 12,000. When their health reaches 0, all kelp guards in the link will be defeated. There must be at least 1 tile in between 2 kelp guards for the link to occur. The aquatic boost of the kelp guards would simply give them a slow health regeneration. When given plant food, they would heal to full health and knock back every zombies currently eating it by 2 tiles. The boosted kelp guard would also gain a shield, providing 2,000 extra health. This rework does make this plant extremely complicated, and there would be a lot of interactions and possibilities to think about, so I'm just going to ask you to not think about it too hard and accept this as just a concept, because that's what it is. I would appreciate hearing any ideas on how to properly balance this guy though. The next plant is Shrub Marine. It is a plant with 2 modes to switch between, attack and intel. Ignore that. In attack mode, it launches torpedoes down the lane that explode in a plus shape. During intel mode, it hides in the ground and reveals visible zombies in a 5x3 area, allowing all plants to detect and damage it. It also provides a range buff to plants in a 3x3 area. This only really applies to close range plants, giving them 1 extra tile of attack range. All intel effects would end as soon as you switch back to attack mode. His aquatic boost would let him operate in both modes at the same time for 10 seconds upon being planted. For his plant food, he reveals all invisible zombies on the lawn, and also reveals 4 mines on random tiles. On land, these would appear as potato mines, but while underwater they would be sea potato mines, which have the same function. The last plant of this world is Strawberry Jellyfish. You tap it, then anywhere on the lawn to launch a jellyfish. It deals heavy damage on the tile it lands on, then creates a puddle of jelly in a 3x3 area for 20 seconds. This jelly would slow zombies and electrocute them periodically, and also boost the effectiveness of electric attacks that damage zombies in the jelly, increasing the damage dealt by 50% and increasing the amount of bounces lightning bolts will make. It has an attack cooldown of 35 seconds. Its aquatic boost causes the initial impact to deal damage in the 3x3 area instead of just the 1 tile, as well as allowing the jelly to stick to zombies 10 seconds after they are no longer in contact with the jam. Plant food would instantly reload Strawberry Jellyfish and supercharge his next shot. The supercharged shot would explode into electricity upon landing, and its puddle would deal a lot more damage. That's all the new plants, but I did want to go over a few already existing ones and how they'll function here. Aquatic plants will keep their same function here, so Tangled Kelp works as normal except it violently drags a zombie into the ground. Lotus Pod will remain in its torpedo form unless planted inside a lily pod. Same story for Crocodile. He would only attack if he's planted inside a lily pod. One plant I'm surprised isn't amphibious or anything is Parsnip. It's based on a crab, right? I even did this design a while back on if he looked more like a hermit crab, so I would give him the ability to exist underwater. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about this last idea, but I thought it'd be fun to at least mention. It might be cool if the aura Moonflower creates was able to let shadow plants breathe underwater. So going in, I wanted the zombies to be loosely connected to Big Wave Beach, since this world does take place 5 yards to the right. I thought it'd be cool to introduce the deep sea zombies. They come in 4 different colors depending on the level of their armor. The basic one is blue, the cone head is green, the bucket head is red, and then the brick head is purple. I've called this one the trap head zombie. It has the same health as all the other level 4 armored zombies and releases a random sea creature whenever its helmet is destroyed. Except a whale, you can't fit a whale in there. If a perfume shroom is used before his helmet is broken, the sea creature that pops out will be charmed. The deep sea gargantua remains unchanged. However, I did decide to tweak the mermaid imp a little bit, removing her legs so that she's a legit mermaid now. For the specials of this world, I kind of want to do the same thing as the Frostbite Caves expansion, making advanced forms of all the special zombies, but I would rather rip my own fingers off than design another fisherman zombie. I did come up with some stuff for the others though, as well as some new faces. There are some special zombies in 2C's Underwater World that I could have used here, but here's the thing. I forgot. Yeah, I just completely forgot this world had special zombies somehow, and I already made all the new zombies, so you're getting those. Most of the 2C specials wouldn't work out anyway, since they were built around the double-sided submarine defense instead of my fictional coral tiles. First up is the deep sea diver zombie, which is immune to any kind of damage or effect from coral tiles. He also has the ability to hide in the water of Big Wave Beach, just like the other snorkel zombies. Up next is the oil barrel imp. My friend Riley helped me come up with this idea, so big thanks to them. It acts similar to porter imps. Whenever one comes across a coral tile, it'll collapse and spill tar all over it, destroying the coral and any plant on top of it. If it's defeated before coming across any coral, it will drop its barrel as a grid item. Then destroying it will cause a permanent tar tile to spawn. These aren't really new zombies, but I decided both shell zombies would fit in really well here. I just gave them a sea creature makeover. Next is the Camo Octo Zombie. I'm sorry, but I did end up taking away his leopard print thong. I know, I'm horrible, I'm sorry. It functions the same as the normal Octo Zombie, but with the added ability of being able to camouflage on special tiles, making it invisible to plants. Every other throw, it would instead throw an octopus at the zombie, sharing the ability to camouflage on special tiles. Moving on, we have the Atlantis zombie. It wields a trident that it'll use to stab plants from a short distance away instead of eating them. He also has the ability to summon a current in its lane, which will push forward zombies and blow all plant projectiles off the lawn. I thought this would be a neat new interaction to introduce, and it gave me the idea of introducing a blower zombotany that occasionally blows all projectiles off the lawn. The only other thing to note about this guy is that the helmet is made of armor. What? The only other thing to note about this guy is that the helmet is made out of metal, so it can be stolen by magnet shroom. The last zombie you'll encounter is the Siren zombie. She resides in a clam that is pushed forward by a mermaid imp. After some time, the clam will open up and she will sing a song that disables every plant on the lawn, similar to the jukebox zombie. She then retreats back into her shell. The clam has a ton of health, so the best way to defeat her is to find a way to strike her while the shell is open. Now that I've gone over everything, I'll share a few neat level ideas I thought of. Now in the Chinese version, this world's minigame is actually Zomaquarium, just remastered. It looks fine enough to me, so it could work, but I did want to pitch an original idea. I don't have a name for it, but the gist of it is that the sea life swap sides. All sea creatures spawn in charmed and attack zombies. The coral tiles will now boost zombies in various ways. The fire coral would give all zombies that walk across it an attack damage boost. Bubble coral now launches zombies towards your house instead of away from it. Base coral can stay the same since it's random anyways, just raise the chances of a zombie popping out. Pipe coral will act as a tunnel, letting zombies use it to transport to another one. It would close up and let zombies walk across it to teleport wouldn't be advantageous. Sun coral will begin stealing sun from your bank whenever a zombie walks across it. The amount will be 25 for every zombie that steps on it. The sea anemone gives zombies a speed boost for a bit after they walk through it. This evil coral cannot be planted on, and oil imps would still destroy the tiles if they come across one. Another small twist that could be fun to add to this level is having some endangered coral shrooms on the lawn, causing them to actively aid the zombies by spawning more coral tiles. As for other levels, one that could be interesting is one with a bunch of Atlantis zombies, then restricting your seed bank to projectile only plants as your attackers, causing the mass amounts of Atlantis zombies to counter your selection. Another idea I had was introducing the spawn coral tiles objective, meaning you'll have to use coral shrimp to spawn in a certain amount, and prevent oil imps from destroying them. And I think that's all I've got to say. Since doing this entire video underwater didn't work out, I figured I could at least do the outro. Thanks so much for watching, and thanks for all the support on my last PvZ video. I really enjoy making these. I'm glad a lot of other people like it too. I'm going to branch out to even more games as time goes on, so be on the lookout for that. Consider subscribing if you enjoyed, and hit that bell. Have a great rest of your day, and I love you.